LeetCode 610 Triangle Judgment. Report for every 3 line segments whether they can form a triangle. Return the results table in any order. The result format is in the following example. We're going to solve this easy LeetCode question in both SQL as well as Python Pandas, where I take you line by line for both of my solutions. All right, let's start coding. All right, so the example that they give us over here, we have X, Y, Z, 13, 15, 30, 10, 20, and 15. We see the output on the first one is no, while the second one is yes. Doesn't really give you that much other hints. It just says report every 3 line segments whether they can form a triangle or not. So let me kind of explain how we can form this triangle with this code. So our final output, right, is literally this table and then just as a triangle, which tells me we essentially need a case statement for this. We can honestly start off with a select star. So you can just go over here and do select star. And I'm just going to tab it out. So that's going to grab X, Y, and Z. And then what we need to do next is a triangle. So we're going to do case when, and we're going to end as triangle. And we're going to say from triangle, which is like that, capital T. So this is the bulk of our code. Now we have to look at this case statement to determine when something is a triangle or not. So essentially why this is a triangle. So X plus Y is greater than Z, okay? Then Y plus Z is greater than X, right? And then X plus Z is greater than Y. So you have to look at 2 line segments and they have to be greater than the other. So very easy to do. So what we're gonna do is case 1, X plus Y is greater than Z, and X plus Z over here is greater than Y. And then what we're going to say is, and Y plus Z is greater than X. Then we're going to say then, and populate yes for that. And then we're going to say else no, and end as triangle. So if I run this now, you'll see it's been accepted. And that's my exact solution. I submitted this before and it works. So one more time, why we do a select star is we want to have X, Y, and Z populated in the final table, okay? And then we just build out a case statement, which is that for that triangle column. Essentially, if X plus Y is greater than Z, if X plus Z is greater than Y, and Y plus Z is greater than X, then it's a triangle. So we say that's a yes in our case statement. Otherwise, if one of these 3 conditions are not met, it's going to be no, that is not a triangle. SQL, super easy. Python's a little bit more difficult. Let's solve that. So normally I start inside this function that they give us, but we're going to actually build our own function first. So what we're going to call it is def, and we're going to call it is triangle. And inside over here, we're going to accept row as an input. Now, what we're going to do is create an if statement. This is essentially a version of our case statement. We'll show you how we can use apply to really apply this to our data frame. I know I said apply twice, but we're going to say if row, and we're going to look for X plus row, and then we look at Y is greater than row Z. So row, let me put Z in here. And literally what I'm going to do is just copy this a few times. We're just going to essentially populate the same thing we did in SQL, right? So X, Y greater than Z, X, Z is greater than Y, and then Y and Z is greater than X. Z is greater than X. Then we're going to return, which I need a colon at the very end, but we're going to return answer yes. Then we have our else part of this. So we say else, and then we return no, like that, right? And now we can go into our data frame that we're going to essentially have as an output. And I should say we're going into our function, not data frame, but our final output's going to be data frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new column in our data frame, which is going to be called triangle. So our data frame itself is called triangle, but we need to set up a new column, which is going to be triangle. And then we're going to do equals, and we're going to do triangle dot apply. And then we're going to apply this function that we did. So it's called is triangle. You apply the is triangle. Then you say your axis equals 1. So axis equals 1. That way we take a look at our X, Y, Z, each specific row as we go downwards. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna return triangle, and I'm gonna put in here all the different fields. So X, Y, Z, and then triangle like that. And I'm gonna run this code, and we're gonna hopefully have this as a correct answer. And it's been accepted, and this has been my exact solution. So one more time what we're doing. So if you take a look at the code that we start off with, this function triangle judgment, first thing we're going to do is create a new column called triangle. We're going to apply a function to this data frame. That's through the .apply over here. And then we're going to call isTriangle, which is a function we created. And we're going to declare that this is axis equals 1. Now we take a look at isTriangle. We have an if-else statement in this function. So we look at X and Y and Z to determine if it is a triangle or not. I explained this on the SQL side of things. So essentially each two sides has to be greater than the third for it to be a triangle. If that's the case, yes. If any of those three break for the sides, you return no. That's what's getting populated into this triangle column. And lastly, we return our data frame, which is triangle, and we return X, Y, and Z, as well as that brand new triangle column. I feel like the hardest part of this video was looking up what forms a triangle. I couldn't remember that back from geometry. It's been a while, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And if you want to continue to support the channel, make sure to subscribe. It's 100% for free. And I do upload 2 to 3 data videos every single week, not just LeetCode questions. Right now, I'm building out a full series on OpenAI, but I also have lots of videos on SQL as well as machine learning. And if you want to continue with LeetCode practice, I have more questions down below in the description or a playlist right over here that you can check out.